Good morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. This is liveweatherblogs.com meteorologist Bob Acanfrio with today's tropical update for Sunday, October 31st, 2010. Well, we're watching Hurricane Tomas out in the Eastern Caribbean today. As of 8 a.m., maximum sustained winds were 100 miles an hour. This puts it at a Category 2 hurricane. Movement was west-northwest at 8. So here's the center currently as of 8 a.m. We will see we still have hurricane warnings here across the Windward Islands this morning. These should be discontinued shortly. We still have that last bit of a rain band on the eastern end of Tomas moving through the islands this morning. Still a lot of heavy rains. It's been a lot of damage across this area from the storm, as the storm really started to crank up as it moved through the islands yesterday, early yesterday morning through the day. So boy, unfortunate situation there for those guys sustaining all that damage. But now it's moving away. We'll see a west-northwest track today. It kind of slowed down a little bit, as I told you that a couple days ago. We're kind of in between now, this departing trough to its north and then high pressure starting to build into its west. As that high pressure builds into to its north, we'll see more of a bend to the track to the west, maybe even west-southwest. There's a possibility it could dip even a little farther south. So keeping it far enough away from Puerto Rico. The only threat for those will be marine interest, high seas, heavy surf, especially along the southern coast of Puerto Rico. That's going to be your main threat with Tomas. And then this is when as we move into the extended towards the later in the week, this is where the forecast gets pretty muddy here and pretty fuzzy and where it will actually go. You can see the big cone of uncertainty here. Will it dip a little farther south, then make that turn to the north? How far west will it get? Will it affect Jamaica, Eastern Cuba? Will it affect Haiti, Dominican Republic? You know, this whole area right in here, if you circle this area right here, this is where my danger zone is right now. Jamaica, Haiti, Eastern Cuba, I'd say even Dominican Republic in a sense, but basically this area right here looks like it's going to come through eventually somewhere in this area. If it moves a little farther west and south, then makes that turn, maybe more towards Jamaica. If it makes that turn a little sooner, then towards Haiti and Hispaniola, this whole area here, where's that turn actually going to go? And that's where the models are still trying to get it together here. As far as shear goes, well, let me talk about shear and everything in a minute. This is the official forecast track, and now we'll go through the maps here one by one. First, the satellite view, first visible look this morning. You can still see no eye visible on the satellite. We are up to 100 miles an hour, but why isn't the eye visible? I'm starting to get a little bit of southwesterly shear here starting to affect this system. And that's where I would say we're probably at its peak for today as far as intensity goes. We could see in the next 2 to 3 days kind of a maybe even a little bit of a weakening trend, probably steady state, or actually I would believe we might see a little bit of weakening here as it moves through the Central Caribbean as that southwest shear. It's really going to depend on how far south this slips. The farther south it slips, the less shear there'll be. The farther north it slips, the more shear there'll be. So that's really going to all depend on how if this weakens a bit in the next couple days. But it's looking like today we might be kind of at our peak for the next couple days, as a southwesterly shear is again starting to affect it, starting to stretch this system out just a little bit. As we look at the color loop here, you could see cloud tops starting to warm, signs of maybe the system starting to weaken just a little bit. And you can see starting to get a little stretched out here with that southwesterly shear in here. So again, signs are looking like Tomas might have peaked for now. Might be on a little bit of a downward trend the next couple days. It's been really hard with the intensity forecast with this system so far, and but if you're just looking out ahead of this system, that's my thoughts. A little farther south won't weaken as fast. A little farther north will weaken a little quicker here in the next couple days. But then as we move down, as we look back in this area here, as we get back into this area towards the end of the period, towards the end of the week, what's going to happen is it's going to get into a better environment again where shear is going to lessen as that trough, which I'll show you in a minute through the models, as that trough digs down up in here over the eastern United States. This is going to create high pressure to build over this system again in here. And that's going to create lower wind shear, and we could see the system start to crank up again, unfortunately, as it makes its move towards land, Jamaica, Haiti, any in this area. So Not even though you might see Tomas weaken in the next couple of days, don't let your guard down because there's a chance the system could crank up again when we don't need it to crank up, when it wants to start moving towards possible landfall. So that's the bad news with Tomas down the road. All right, getting back, here's the shear today, and you can see that southwesterly shear starting to crank a little bit, starting to get into that 15 to 20 knot range, and that's where any kind of strengthening will kind of halt. And you can see the farther south it moves, the less shear it'll induce in the next couple of days. The farther north, the more shear. So that's going to be the key for Tomas the next couple of days. But again, I would suspect a weakening trend over the next couple of days before strengthening could occur again later in the period. This is where we're going to go here with the steering currents. Again, a little slower movement today because trough moving out. This high pressure here that was steering, it's moving east. So now we're kind of in that in-between phase here before this high pressure builds to the east and builds to its north. And that's what's going to press it more west or possibly west-southwest and start moving it again a little quicker. And then here's our trough just starting to appear now way on the edge here across the eastern Pacific here, across the western United States. And this is the one that's going to dive down into here and eventually steer our system. And I'm going to show you all those model differences here coming up. All right, let's go through the models. Here's from the South Water Management District here, South Florida. You can see everything's kind of piled into here. With they move to the west, west-southwest, and then where does it go? Does it go farther west, Jamaica? Does it turn a little quicker into Hispaniola, Haiti, Dominican Republic? Again, that's where all the model differences are right now. More early run models. A lot of the early run models, these are 6Zs kind of pointing towards Hispaniola right now. Again, these are now the GFS ensemble models. These are all the GFS models piled into one from 0Z. You can see, again, a range all the way from Jamaica all the way to Hispaniola here. So still a wide range here where this turn's going to be. Intensity models, and this is what I was showing you. Kind of a peak today. If you kind of smooth all this out, a little bit of a drop in the next 2 to 3 days. And then another more of an uptick again as we move later in the period. So that's where this intensity forecast is kind of going with right now. Okay, models. First I'm going to go through GFS, Canadian, Euro, the two big global models, the three big global models, especially pertaining to what the system's going to do across the eastern United States. We're going to roll this back into motion. This is the GFS model here. Let's get this to the beginning here. Concentrate more on what's going to happen across the United States here, because that's what's going to move Tomas. See this upper low, cutoff low, trying to dig down into the southeast here, but it doesn't really phase. This GFS is more of a progressive pattern here. No phasing of this upper system with the system along the coast that's going to try to develop. That could tend to move this system a little farther west, a little farther east. So definitely we could see that. If you look at the GFS right now, you could see it turning, and then here it goes. It's more of an easterly move, more maybe towards Haiti, and then out to sea. And then as we go through the Canadian model here, this one's a little stronger with phasing of this system. You can see it really cranking it and moving the system more towards the west here, not along the coast. And this would tend to bring Tomas a little farther west, maybe towards Jamaica and eastern Cuba, and you can see that's that. So that's the differences there with the Canadian. Big differences with the Canadian and the GFS right now, where the GFS is a little more quicker with this trough and more progressive, where the Canadian model really cranks this system and brings the system almost towards the western Pennsylvania, western New York area here, and this would bring the system a little farther west. Euro model's kind of in between both of them right now. Really not as progressive, but then not as strong as the Canadian model right now. And that would tend again to bring the system kind of in between the GFS and the Canadian model. So that's where the differences are going to lie on where this system's going to turn. What's going to happen over the eastern United States with this storm? So it depends who you want to go with right now. Do we get the system moving a little farther west? And then again, would it affect Jamaica? Or will the system move a little farther east and then affect Haiti and the Dominican Republic? So that's where we're at. Who do you want to go with right now? Models have kind of been all over the place lately, switching back and forth. So that's why in the extended period, it's really cloudy right now. GFDL really showing you that weakening trend and then strengthening trend. And again, more in line with the GFS model, which, they get a lot, this gets a lot of its input from the GFS model. So it's going to kind of almost be just kind of the path just like the GFS. Again, bringing it, east of Jamaica, more towards Haiti in the long run here. And again, weakening and then strengthening again. And that's where the intensity forecast is looking at. This is the no gaps model. Again, farther north, really an outlier right now, brings the system weaker and farther north into more of that heavier shear and then across the Dominican Republic. I mean, this would be the best outcome. Get way north, get into that shear, and then just move over the island. Yeah, there would be a lot of flooding, but not as strong of a system. So don't think that's going to happen. That's really an outlier right now. And again, I'm just showing you all the models today because there's so many differences here. UK Met model, again, almost like the GFS as you see across the eastern United States, a more progressive pattern across the eastern United States with this upper trough here across the eastern United States, pulling this low pressure well off the east coast. And again, that would tend to eventually move this system almost like the GFS. We don't go too far out in the period, but you would see the turn somewhere right in there. And the HPC, this is their map for Friday morning, and you could see they kind of take a compromise with everything, bring this low pressure along the east coast, not as far west. The Canadian model would have the low cranking right in this area to kind of a compromise between the GFS, which is a little farther east, and the Canadian model, bring it along the east coast here. It'll be interesting to see where this low pressure actually sets up to see if we get some snow for Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Buffalo area. It's just going to be real interesting where this low pressure actually sets up in the long run. And then here's our system here again. And this would be my kind of track of preference right now, kind of east of Jamaica, closer to Haiti in the end. Again, real tough call right now. Again, the point is, if you're living in Jamaica, Eastern Cuba, Haiti, anywhere in Dominican Republic, you just got to be watching this system very carefully right now. But this is the map for Friday morning. You can see, and this system definitely is not coming anywhere near the United States. So any of you Westcasters, a lot of people want to bring this into the Gulf of Mexico for just the last little bit of excitement, but it's not happening with this system. There's just no way it's going to get probably not much farther west than Jamaica at this time. So it's not going to happen. The United States is in the all clear with this one. We're going to welcome a big rush of fall weather here for the end of next week, definitely for next weekend across the south. Hopefully we could get some rain out of this system in the south, but that would be very nice. All right, well, that's my update for today. I will have another tropical update for you guys hopefully by tomorrow morning. If not, it would be Tuesday, but I'll try to get one out for you guys tomorrow morning. Stay tuned to liveweatherblogs.com for all your latest weather information. Have a good day.